Can you explain to us what just happened?
I just got my 11th ticket for feeding the homeless.
Hey guys, I'm Hannah Cox with Base Politics, back with my show Copaganda. With a crime rate of 55 per 1,000 residents, Houston has one of the highest crime rates in America compared to all communities of all sizes, from the smallest of towns to the very largest cities. It's not going great there. One's chance of being a victim if you're in Houston of either violent or property crime is 1 in 18, but don't worry guys, the boys in blue are here to clean up those streets. Just kidding. They are literally out harassing volunteers who are giving food to homeless people out of charity. Let's roll the clip.
So I'll see you tomorrow. Probably you too, huh? See you guys in the morning. All right, thank you.
Okay. Can you explain to us what just happened?
I just got my 11th ticket for feeding the homeless, and this is number 30 for Food Not Bombs.
Cool. We're in front of the public library, which says that we don't have the right to, be here. And, we're conducting a food service event without the consent of the property owner, and it says, in parentheses, feed homeless. A specialty law that is being forced specifically just on us. It's wonderful. So we will continue to protest until there's change.
That's pretty ridiculous. As they say in the video, they are on public property on a sidewalk of their own volition, giving away food to the homeless, and they are being fined. But apparently, this is not that organization's first run-in with the police. It's called the Houston Food Not Bombs organization. It's been around since 1994, and they say they've been ticketed at least 30 times for sharing free food with their unhoused neighbors. Let's roll this clip.
Hey, so Alan, what are we doing here today?
Well, today we are sharing food with friends that we have donated and gathered from people who were donating to us.
And what's up with these 4 cops back here?
Well, they're trying to intimidate us. They don't like us sharing food in front of the library.
On average, we feed over 100 people, and they just sit out here and stare at us for the whole hour it takes to assemble the food that we make for the community and public, and then they ticket us.
Just a reminder, 1 in 18 people in Houston will be a victim of either a violent or property crime. Real things that hurt people. And you have 4 officers standing there for an hour just to harass peaceful people who are trying to donate their time and resources to feed hungry people. Make it make sense. You can't. According to the organization's website, Houston Food Not Bombs is under attack by Houston Mayor Turner and the Houston Police Department for a charitable feeding ordinance that was issued 10 years ago that has never been enforced until now. The police department is on record as now threatening to arrest volunteers if they do not move to new locations. The organization says that the offered location is not safe for houseless people. They feature multiple images on their website of volunteers being harassed by police and say that their volunteers have been hit with anywhere between $250 fines to $10,000 fines in just a week. Behind the ordinance they mention is the usual suspect, which is the Houston Health Department. This ordinance requires that charitable organizations register with the government, turn over a ton of their private information, give them a proposed schedule and location for giving away food, take a training class to give away free food, and get both public or private property owners' consent to give away food on their sidewalks. What? Now, to be clear, I think if you're going to be on somebody's private property, you should have to get consent. If you're going to be on public property on a sidewalk, not hurt anybody, you want to give away free food, you've got to be kidding me that we would use taxpayer dollars to police this. And before we go too hard on Houston, I do want to make sure you're aware that they are by no means an outlier. It is actually crazy the number of laws the United States has on the books that criminalize simply feeding hungry people. In fact, distributing free food to homeless people is considered illegal in more than 70 U.S. cities. I can provide numerous examples of police actually going in and destroying free food at events that organizations were trying to give away for free, ticketing people, fining people, shutting down their businesses. The list goes on. Now, of course, they do all of this under the pretense of safety, right? How do we know that the food is safe if it's just these volunteers making it and feeding it to homeless people? But that is a load of crap. Hungry people are literally eating out of dumpsters, and you're sitting here worried about whether or not you can license the food providers so they can feed the hungry. I think what this actually boils down to is that the government wants to have a monopoly on charity because that's how they justify taking your tax dollars. And for the record, they do a piss poor job of distributing them. Despite collecting countless Americans' hard-earned tax dollars, the government has yet to solve any single issue facing people who are in poverty in this country. Meanwhile, Americans continue to be one of the most charitable people to have ever existed throughout humanity, and charitable organizations have a much better rate of actually addressing and curing people's issues and getting them back on their feet than the government does. The government ultimately does not like competition because it's a monopoly and it wants to stay that way. As for the police in this video, I just have to say, why go and arrest bad guys when they're big and scary and might hurt you when you can do this with your time? This is inexcusable, and it makes me understand why people call for defunding the police. If they're not going to actually go and solve crimes against people's personhood and their property, what use are they? They're simply just shaking down honest, hardworking, giving people. That it's something that you'd see in countries like Russia. It shouldn't be what you find in the United States. I also have to pick a bone with lawmakers who put these ridiculous asinine policies on the books in the first place that then gives police the permission and often the pressure to go and enforce them, which makes everybody less safe. Anytime you create an instance for police to interact with the public, there is the possibility that somebody can get killed. And we often do see people get killed in these interactions because things go awry. But I'm not letting police off the hook here either, because they do still have a tremendous amount of discretion, as do the people who are supervising them. They can decide where they put their resources, where they invest their time, and it is very plain to see that the Houston Police Department is mismanaging the resources that have been given to it. All right, guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this video, and until next week, stay based.